Hello guys, welcome back to Pause. Adam here and welcome back to World Discovery, our Epcot inspired World Showcase theme park built here in Planet Coaster. This is part 7. And today, finally, we are back in Planet Coaster, back in the game, and we are starting work on a brand new country. So, previously on this series, we have been working on an American area at the start of the park, as well as the sort of entrance plaza itself. We've sort of finished most of the American zone now. A few little odd finishing touches here and there, which we'll come back to down the line. But it's now time to expand the park, move on, and start the next country. So in this episode, as you've probably seen from the title, we are starting with Mexico. So that is the next country we are tackling. Mexico is next. So we're going from the entrance to America, then to Mexico. So in this build today, what you're going to see is a rather large building. This is going to be the main focal point of this pavilion. Mexico itself is not going to be as big as the American area. There's going to be a lot, sort of a bit smaller. It's mainly going to be this one main building, as well as maybe a couple of other fillers like a shop and a few little kiosks. But generally this is going to be the main focus of this Mexico pavilion. Now the inspiration for the building itself is taken very much from Epcot. It's heavily inspired, as this park is, but as I keep saying, this is not going to be a complete recreation. It's just heavily inspired by, which is exactly the same for this building. So taking a few reference images, I'm sort of making my own take on a building that is in the Mexico pavilion at Epcot. And it's sort of your big, I don't know what you'd call it. It's kind of like not a pyramid. I don't know what they're called, but you'll see as we get along with this build, the kind of thing I'm going for. And the adventure pack pieces fit really well with this type of style. So that's mainly what we use today. We use a few odd bits and pieces here and there to sort of make it look unique. Like I said, I've taken inspiration, but I've put my own twist on it as well. In this episode, we get the main facade just about complete, and we start putting in a little bit of path work, and also a tiny little bit of foliage around the sort of front of this building. I still need to finish off the back of it, which is probably something we'll do off camera, as that's really boring putting walls and things in. But generally today, I just wanted to show you the main bulk of putting in this building. Like I said, it's quite a big one. I'm hoping to do some kind of interior in this build. We may end up putting a ride behind this, very similar to what we've done in the American pavilion. I'm thinking maybe some kind of water ride. Now in the Epcot area of Epcot, sorry, in the Mexico area of Epcot, there is a boat ride, like a 3 Caballeros boat ride, very slow moving boat ride, very low budget, sort of a celebration of Mexico. Now I'm thinking boat potentially, but not that kind of ride. I'm thinking maybe like a log flume, so a bit more of a thrill, with some indoor and outdoor scenes. Potentially, I mean, like I mentioned at the start of this series, I want to try and keep a lot of the rides hidden. I don't want them sort of to be the focus of the park. I want the buildings, I want the culture, I want the theming to be the main focus, with the rides sort of secondary to that. So I don't want there to be like a massive drop, like visible or anything like that. So I think we might just have maybe a slow little section of it, outdoor. I don't know. I'm still working on plans for that, but I think maybe a log flume style attraction is what will fit this area. Let me know your thoughts, drop them down in the comments below if you think that's a good idea, if you think there might be a better ride suited. I definitely don't want to do a coaster in Mexico, so please try and steer away from recommending coasters. That's not, for me, is not going to fit this area. I'm thinking water ride. Let me know what you think. Obviously, so far in the park, for anybody who's new to the series, I do recommend going back and checking out the first 6 parts to see how we put this sort of place together. And I do go into a lot more detail of explaining my sort of mindset and thought process behind everything. But at the moment, we've currently got in 1 carousel in the American area, which I believe we have named the Cleveland Carousel. And then we've also got a very small, low-budget dark ride called Route 66 Driving Adventure. So I think a log flume would work quite well. By this stage in the park, you've already gone through the entrance, you've already gone through the American area, potentially you've gone around the other side of the lake. So I think having quite a big ride in this particular pavilion would suit quite well. So I do want it to be a relatively big e-ticket style attraction. So yeah, I'm thinking log flume. Like I said, let me know what you think. And in the next episode, we'll probably get cracking on the ride portion of Mexico. So, like I've said, a lot of this stuff is very adventure, and I get that. But if you look at the reference images from the Epcot area, it really is this style of build. And I think it suits it really well. Like the main pavilion in Epcot is that big pyramid structure. Inside it, I believe it's like a restaurant as well as the shops and the ride and things like that. And it gives a sort of an outdoor feel. From what I can remember inside this building that I'm putting together here in the Epcot version, it sort of feels like a market, like an outdoor market, and it always sort of feels like nighttime. And I really like that idea, so that's probably something we might bring into the indoors of this section. Like I said, I do want there to be quite a decent interior in this one, and that's something we will work on down the line. As I mentioned, I think the buildings and the structures are the main focus of this park, and it's the bit of the game which I have been lacking in over the last sort of year or so while I've been playing it. So that's really the bit I want to focus on the most in this one. The rides are pretty much going to be secondary, because I know I can build rides, I know I can do dark rides. It's the buildings and the theming and the realism that I need to sort of focus on, and that's what we're doing in this build. So one thing I will mention, apologies, it's been a while since the last episode. It's been about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, so I'm sorry for that. I'm going to try and pick up the pace a little bit now. It's just been absolutely manic, as I mentioned a few times. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I genuinely have just not had time. It's been extremely busy where I work, and that's sort of come to an end now, so hopefully I can sort of get a bit more time back on the game. And one other thing which I am amazed about since the last episode, I've actually booked a trip to Florida, Walt Disney World. I'm going next September, so I'm so excited to be getting back to Walt Disney World. I haven't been since 2009, so it will be 10 years pretty much when I go next year since I've been, and I can't wait. I am so excited to go. So it'd be nice to see sort of this project finished and then be able to go and just experience the real Epcot again, because a lot of the stuff that I'm working on now is from reference images and very rough memories, as 9 years ago is a long time to remember. So I can't wait to get back out there. We've got a few days booked out in Disneyland Paris for January as well, so we'll just catch the sort of we might just catch the tail end of Christmas. If not, we're definitely there for the start of the Star Wars celebrations, which is not something I'm overly into Star Wars, but I always like to see the new stuff. And then also, from the sounds of it, from next year, a lot of the new expansion plans from Disneyland Paris will be kicking into gear. So the massive sort of €2 billion expansion that's happening over the next sort of 5 to 10 years. So hopefully some of that stuff has started when I go as well. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up in my sort of normal life. And so yeah, in terms of like I say, work and this game, hopefully I'll have a little bit more time now to get content out. Anyway, back to today's video. So a few little bits and pieces you've just seen there. These little sort of lanterns that we've put up the steps. It was just in the sort of original build that I'm taking inspiration from. They look like lion heads or some kind of animal head. That's just I don't know if it even is a light, but it's just sort of on the steps as it goes up, pretty much in the same location. But I thought, let's do something a bit different. Let's turn them into a lantern, like a torch, and I think it looks quite good. Again, similarly to this building, in Port Ventura, there is a very, very, very similar style building in that park. That's in Spain, for anyone who is unaware. And from my memory of that park, it has these sort of torches going up as well. So that's kind of where the inspirations come from for that. Again, very similar themes. That one's a bit more I can't think of the words today. I'm really struggling with words. I don't think that one's more. That's not really specifically Mexico in PortAventura, from what I remember. But it's a long while ago. So here I was trying to figure out what to do at the front. Like in the building that is in Epcot, it has these very similar stairs that go straight from the path like this. Obviously, you don't want people to be able to climb up them. They've got a sort of big mural type painting that sort of covers the bottom of the steps. It's something we might look into doing. Some kind of theme flag signage, billboard, something like that. I just don't want it to look very square. That's the only thing I'm sort of not overly impressed with the billboards, is how square they are. Which obviously they have to be. That's the way the game is. So instead I thought, for now, we'll put in this little temporary sort of wall, using a few of the actual Mexico pieces from the new World's Fair pack. There's not much, I'll be honest, there's not much in there at all. But for now, it sort of do. I do move the trees in a minute, because I don't want, as you can see, there's not much path up there. So the trees and the pinatas do disappear. Just open it up a little bit. So the sort of this red bush sort of idea is just something that, again, taking inspiration from a few different places and a few different reference images, and I think it suits quite well. Again, it just sort of fits the style I'm going for, and it just gives it a little bit of an organic look as well as just a big building. Breaks it up a little bit. And that's the sort of idea that I'm going for. So the last sort of thing we do in front of the building for today is put in a little bit of fencing. So as you can see, like I said, it's not the most exciting of episodes, but I just want to get some out there and just to sort of say hello, I'm still here, and we have started a brand new area. So in the next couple of days, we'll get the next episode out. Like I said, we'll probably start working on the ride. So let me know. There's a couple of days before I start recording that one. So if you've got any more ideas for other suggestions for rides, I'm open to your ideas. So just let me know down in the comments below. And as well as that, if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of the content. But for now, guys, thank you ever so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode very, very soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.